Hello, everyone.
Hello there.
This week, we want to talk about something that pops up often in our conversations. Often more in a playful manner, but also as a quite serious issue or subject.
And a reminder.
Because it is something that we often struggle with. When we talk about this, it's not as if we have everything down pat, but it's a matter of constantly working with that and an awareness of how often we fall in certain traps, but also how it helps us and also how we help each other to become aware of it. Often jokingly, but a very practical, almost a motto or an approach to life.
Yeah. And I think the first time we were made aware of this in a definite way. I mean, it's a life principle, but I think it was Richard Rohr at the Living School who said, start with a yes. If you go into something and there's this resistance in you, go into it with a yes. Start out with a yes. And that is actually a huge thing.
You can either start with a no, and we often do that. We say no to exposure to new situations, to new groups, to something new. There's such a lot of examples.
Yes, to meeting somebody. You might have heard something about somebody and now you're going to meet them and you already have this sort of a notion and you're negative about this. And to really go actually against your ego, that's trying to protect you from something that's not comfortable or maybe even dangerous. You actually have to tell yourself, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to give this person a chance to prove themselves to me firsthand. So in so many life situations, I think once you become aware of it, you realize how often we go into something in a negative way. And I think it's biological. I mean, I think in terms of how we actually live our lives, is that our brains can more easily take a negative and create a memory from that in order to protect us in future.
Almost building up a database and say, well,
remember last time.
Yeah.
So it is actually going against that and setting another type of intention going into something.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Because when we start off with a yes, there is an openness and a willingness to be changed,
to be proven
wrong. And those are all things that the ego doesn't like.
No, not at all. And also to experience something for the first time, or that we are also scared of, or that something will change. There are so many things that when we're saying yes to something, there's such a lot that can actually happen. And it makes us scared most of the time.
Yes.
The unknown of what the yes will imply.
Yes. Yeah. If you think of situations, and you asked me in the Afrikaans the question, but now I'm asking you to put you on the spot. If you look back on your own life history, situations where you approached it with a yes, and how it influenced you, how the outcome differed from a situation where you could have said no.
I think, and this is maybe turning it over a bit, is there are often situations that you are in where you stay in it because if you would say yes to the alternative, that would create a huge shift in your life. So, for an example, I was working in a job that I really, really hated. I really didn't enjoy that job. And but I was raised to do what the right thing, the responsible thing. So I was staying in a job that I really didn't enjoy. And to actually tell myself, this is not what I want to do. And I want to say yes to myself in terms of what I would rather be doing. So often it's a saying no to a certain situation and a saying yes to something that you have ignored or were too scared to embrace. So I would say that was something that I decided on, and that I decided to when I felt pregnant. That was such a good reason for me to not continue in that job. To say, but no, I want to stay with my child. I want to be with my child. And to say yes to that rather than to stay in a situation where I needed the money, I needed the income, but it was a definite yes to something that I needed more.
What is interesting about that example is that when you're stuck in a situation, you can often get unstuck by bringing in a yes.
Yeah.
And then to do a little bit of an archaeological dig, as Thomas Keating says, and by saying yes, to what are you saying yes? Yeah. In other words, follow the trail of the yes.
Because you might be living in a no situation.
Yes.
That you're saying yes to every day. You're saying yes to this situation.
Now we're making it complicated. Now we make
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's now the example. But I think another one, and maybe something that you can say, is the decision to say yes to the invitation to go to the living school.
Yeah.
Which was a huge thing for us. I mean, we had so many reasons to say this is not possible. That was valid reasons. And that we said we want to say yes to this, and what did it actually bring in our lives? Such a richness, new relationships, new connections, such a inner journey for both of us. So I think often starting with a yes. It opens you up in it, like you said, because there's a different type of intention. There's a willingness to embrace what lies ahead. So there's a very different feel to it than starting with a negative.
Yes, I wanted to tie into that. While you were talking, I was thinking of that. The moment you start with a yes, it's almost as if a different energy comes into play.
Definitely.
It's vibrant.
Yeah.
If you want a stale, predictable life, always say no.
Yeah.
But if you want an adventurous, exciting life, start with a yes. Will you always be able to predict what the outcome will be? Very seldom. Very, very seldom. Will you be stretched? For sure. And that is the beauty of it. The ego wants to keep us safe, wants to make us huddle in a little group and protect ourselves, and it is so easy. And in South Africa, even more so, there's a lot of things to be critical about. And one can so easily slot into a lifestyle where when we start a conversation. So this is the problem, that is the problem, and name all of this, list all of that. But then that energy, you realize the moment you are part of such a conversation, it's a different energy. It's not life-giving.
And often when we talk about us and them, they do this, they have this mindset. As soon as that is there, then you know you're not in a yes mentality.
Yeah, the moment
starting with a no.
the moment we bring into a conversation, when I bring into the conversation they, in other words, objectifying a group or a person, then I know it's my ego coming into play.
Because the ego doesn't want change as well.
No.
So anything like another culture, another language group, race, it brings uncertainty to the ego. So, and to stretch that muscle a little bit. And I think start with safe things. Start with things that you can actually maybe manage a little bit if you want to not scare the ego so much.
Yes, yeah. Go into the shallow water.
Yes,
Dip your toe into
Start with a small yes.
Yeah, a whisper yes.
Oh, just a maybe.
Yeah, but it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
So try it this week. Just be aware of your general stance. Catch yourself out the times when you say no, and see what opens up, because awareness is such an important tool in our toolbox, and it can make a huge difference but by just becoming aware. So we would like to hear what the outcome.
And what you said yes to.
Yeah. Have a lovely week.
Yeah, have a great week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.